Evening all. Happy Wednesday. I'm back for part two of this session of this Roberta Gentile remix session. Daniel, great to see you. Recto, how you doing? Great to have you along. So if anyone was watching on Sunday night, you'll know that I had a bit of a crazy crash. I've been doing these Twitch sessions since kind of the start of the year, really, the first week of January. And I suppose I've been pretty lucky, really, to have not had any major crashes. I'm working from a MacBook Pro, and it's a fairly recent one. I think it's a couple of years old now. So it's a i7 processor, quad core, I believe, and yeah, I'm kind of basically running everything from that. So I've got Streamlabs. I'm obviously running Ableton Live. I've got the browser open. I've got my kind of UAD console. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And the biggest problem I have, I suppose, is just the fan noise. So as soon as it starts to, start using the CPU, the fan goes a bit crazy. But what happened on Sunday was a number of things. So first of all, I learned a few things. So first of all, I'd been using my computer during the day, and then I kind of took it into my studio, and it didn't shut down. I just kind of plugged everything in so I think there was some issues there, background apps or whatever working. Also, the other issue was that I was loading multiple versions of the Ableton Live project, and I don't think it liked that. I probably should have checked the activity monitor as well, just to sort of see if there were any background apps that were using any kind of CPU. I think in the future I'm looking at maybe getting a dedicated laptop just for the streaming, and then a capture card. I know that some of my colleagues at work do that, and that's probably the best thing. But I've got limited space here, so it's more convenient for me to run it all from a laptop. So anyway, I got as far as playing through the stems, playing through the original version of the track, and then I played through my remix. And at the point where I was just opening up some UAD plugins on the master channel, that's when it literally my computer just completely zonked and just stopped in front of me and basically shut down. So I tried to kind of load everything back up really quickly and get back online, but I could see that some of my hard drives weren't loading up properly, and I was just at that point I was can't deal with it, so let's come back to it. So I'm here, and I just thought I'd crack on. What I wanted to do tonight as well, once I've gone through the session, I also wanted to, I'm just going to bring up the window here actually, just have a very, very quick look at this thing that Google has, I saw posted anyway today on, I think it was Music Radar, and it's this new kind of augmented reality history of electronic music that Google have put up, and it's pretty cool. I was just having a little play with it, and you can basically kind of drag in an ARP Odyssey and a Memory Moog, and a CR78, and just kind of play around with it. And I thought, well, that's really cool. Quite a good little kind of educational tool. So we'll have a look at that. But let's just have a look at the remix to pick up from where we left off. So I think what I will do is I'll just play from the top again, just so that if anyone didn't catch the Sunday session, we can have a listen through to the remix. As I said, this is Roberta Gentile. I did this 2 years ago, so I've just sort of opened up the project, and I'm just going to sort of just run through some of the parts really, and sort of remind myself how I put it together, maybe have a look at some of the chords, some of the sounds. What I have done, just a little safeguard, is that I've taken off the processing I had on the master channel, because I think that's probably, that was when I opened those plugins up, that's what kind of crashed it. So cool. If you want to get involved in the chat, ask any questions, then please do that. But let me just check I've got the output running on here. One thing I didn't do actually was a test before I started, but yep, I've got the output running on there. So cool, let's have a listen to the track, the remix. Here we go. So this is my little kind of dubbed out outro section. Just praying it doesn't crash. I can see the CPU is pretty heavy. Just going to turn up my headphones for this bit. Cool, so there we go. Cool, so far so good. Although that's how far I got with the session on Sunday. So I'm going to just kind of tread very carefully here, because I can definitely see that the CPU is I mean, that's crazy. Like, I'm not even playing anything and it's registering 23% or something. So I don't know if this is a Live 11 thing. I've certainly the CPU survived, Daniel, yeah. But yeah, I've certainly seen a few posts. I actually saw Flying Lotus posted something last week on Twitter about Live 11 CPU usage, and just kind of questioning the fact that maybe it was using up more CPU. I don't know. I mean, I've been using the beta for a couple of months and haven't had any problems. In fact, that's all I've been using on the Twitch sessions. I think it's just probably this session. I think one of the main reasons is that I'm grouping. I've got some pretty heavy grouping going on. Just basically, I've got a group which is the drums here, and then I've got a group which is, well, I've called it music, but it's essentially just sort of some of the key synths, and I've got some sidechain on it, and I think that may be some of it. Anyway, let's just have a look first of all at the drums, and the way I approached this was just to kind of get something going pretty quickly. I'd done a deconstruction for Point Blank, and it was of the Calvin Harris track One Kiss with Dua Lipa, and I had a kit that I created for that to recreate that. Let's just turn on the. There we go. So these are the sounds I had. It was like kick. So, and I mean, I'd spent quite a lot of time actually kind of getting those sounds together, especially the kick. I really like the sound of that kick. So, if you remember from the last session, the tempo for this was, I think, 112.5. So the first thing I did was speed it up, and this was the beat that I put in. I'll just solo the drum group. So if I just play it a little bit further down, I think I even used kind of something similar to the actual pattern. So that's all coming out of just this one channel here, with this drum rack. Let me just scroll over to that. So all these sounds, and they're kind of an amalgamation of kind of sounds from my library. And then what I often do is, you can see I've got an extra kick track here where I just have this. In fact, all these MIDI tracks here, they're all feeding into this one channel. So again, I think that uses up more CPU when you're doing that. But you see I've got one which is the extra kick, and then there's like rim shot extra stuff as well. So it's kind of, in theory, it's meant to be less CPU heavy because I'm not creating actual duplicate tracks of this instance of the drum rack, but maybe it's some way it's kind of actually putting extra CPU load. So we've got that. Then I've got a stylus here, which is just playing a tambourine. Will that load up for me without crashing? There we go. And I think this is actually quite an old version of stylus, and it's probably the reason why I haven't upgraded from Mojave, because it's a 32-bit plugin. Have I got 32 lives running? Maybe not actually. But let's just play that. I can't remember how long I've been using stylus, but it's generally for shakers and tambourines and maybe some congas and stuff as well. I've also got, for the congas though, on this, I'm using one of the contact libraries. I'm just going to load it up now. It's Cuba. And I'm actually using quite a few sounds from this. So let's just play the congas. Really great. But then also you might have heard a kind of me doing a timbale solo and also some cowbell. So if I just play that. So there's that. If I just play it in the context. And then it gets to this section, and I actually played these timbales. Where are they? There you go. So yeah, I thoroughly recommend this Cuba library. It's just again, I'm doing a similar thing here. So I've just got the one instance of that contact conga library, and then playing in the cowbell and the timbales as extra MIDI tracks. So that is pretty much that is the drum group. And I don't think I've got any other drums or percussion playing on that. So that's that. Now let's have a look at the music track. Now, first of all, I should probably look at the synth. Daniel, I think you mentioned that. And that is the Sylenth. And I remember buying the Sylenth many years ago. It was something I did at Point Blank. It was the Academy of Electronic Music. That's it. And it was, I kind of knew that a lot. It was this kind of competition thing running with Google where the participants were basically kind of into trance. And I was like, well, I've got to get Sylenth, so I bought it. And I've kind of used it. I've definitely used it here and there. But I mean, this, I don't know, I just stumbled across this sound. I was like, right, I'm going to try something on Sylenth. So this is the sound that I got. I'll just solo it actually. And let's just see what automation we've got on. So I've got the filter cutoff, and then actually there must be. Oh, here we go, and the LFO as well. So I'm filtering the LFO, and that's creating that sort of wobble sound. So it's this here. So it's the gain. And then let me just put the automation back on, and then the main cutoff is here. So it's a killer sound. Let me just bring up the VMPK so I can show you what the chords are, and I'll play it along with the vocal. I think I probably started off on just a kind of Rhodes sound, just to figure out the chords. But let me play it on here. Let me just bring up the VMPK, and it's not going to crash, is it? No, please. There we go. Cool. So what I need to do with the VMPK is I need to set the input MIDI connections, and we're going to say the A series. There we go. So let's just play the vocal, and let me just solo the vocal.
Young, we're in love. We got soul, and we're gifted. Not a cloud.
Right, so I'm just going to have the vocal. So let's just play that. In fact, what I have to do is I'm going to have to just mute those parts, and then just play this.
Young, we're in love. We got soul, and we're gifted. Not a cloud.
So we're in C minor.
In our skies, we are electric, born to survive, and we.
Let me just put the metronome on.
Young, we're in love. We got soul, and we're gifted. Not a cloud in our skies. We are electric, born to survive.
Cool. So basically, the first chord is C minor 9, and then going to an F minor 9. So that's the same shape. Just going to that's the 1 chord, which is C minor, going down to the 4 chord, which is F minor 9, and then it's one of these kind of it's like a chord device, human chord device. So I'm then going up to the A flat, and normally, sort of diatonically, it would be A flat major, but I'm actually using the same kind of shape. So it's A flat minor 9, to G minor 9, but then going diatonically to the A flat major 7, and then to B flat 9, same again, sorry, and then ending up on this, which is D flat major 7. So that's pretty much how that that chord pattern runs all the way through. So I'll just unmute that now. There we go. So once I got that, I was like, okay, that's working with the vocal. Let's take this. And then I kind of added some sounds to go underneath this. So the first thing I added was the sub bass.
We are young. We're in love. We got soul.
So this is
And we're gifted.
actually another sound that I used as the bass line for the One Kiss, Calvin Harris One Kiss. And that is just an Ableton analog device. So Daniel, I'm just sorry, I've just reading your messages. Sorry. What are your best tips on making the chords cut through whilst making the vocals still present? I don't know. I mean, I think I've got sidechain compression, just kind of giving that pumping sound. I know that some people actually sidechain the chords to the actual vocal, so that when the vocal's there, it's kind of like dipping the chords. I didn't do that for this. I think it's just about choosing the sound, and certainly because I'm using the filter cutoff, probably I'm kind of bringing down the filter cutoff when the vocal comes in, just to kind of give it some kind of space. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's just, also kind of compressing the vocal as well. Although I didn't actually compress this vocal because it didn't need it. It was already, I mean, the stems that I got were like already compressed, had reverb on them and everything. So they were like balanced really well within themselves. But I think that's the key thing. If you have got a vocal that really is kind of, level wise going up and down, then that, you probably are going to have problems with it cutting through. But obviously there's EQ, there's all sorts of things that you can use. But yeah, just going back to this bass sound, that's actually got some LFO on it as well. The LFO is affecting the frequency. So if we just play that underneath, it's...
We're in love. We got soul. And we're gifted.
So later on, I actually introduce some piano, and this is quite kind of house piano. I'm sort of soloing everything here. Here we go. I probably could have got away with the M1 piano for that, to be honest. However, let's just open Contact. This is Contact 5, not the kind of newest Contact, but this is the Grandeur. And certainly, I really wanted to make this cut through. So I actually used the SSL G channel for this. I think this is actually the Waves version. It's not the UAD. But if I take it off, you can hear, I don't know if you can hear, but it's got quite a lot of kind of bottom end on it. And with that on, it's really, I think it really cuts through. If we listen to it in the context of the track,
World filled with hating. Lose our friends. Too young to die. We are bold.
so for me, it's very much like a thing to define the sections. And the piano is something that I brought in really kind of to take the second verse up a notch, up a level.
Can't let the pressure get through. When there's so much.
If we just listen to how it comes in, there's a bit of a kind of sax break here. Tied in with the drums dropping.
In our world filled with hating. Lose our friends. Too young to die. We are bold.
So I think, that's really important for me, is to just try to find new elements that come in the track just to kind of add excitement and to, to kind of change the texture a little bit. One thing I really wanted to mention was this, which I'm very proud of. Again, it's something from my Calvin Harris remix, and it's the legendary Donk. And I don't know if you're watching Ravine, you're probably not, but he's a big fan of the Donk. And this is it. And what that's doing is it's kind of answering. It's like a question and answer with the bass, really, and it's creating kind of quite a bit of syncopation. If I just solo those, the sort of sub bass and the donk. So yeah, that's the sound that I created for the remix. And probably traditionally you'd use like an FM. I'd use the operator or something, or maybe FM8. But actually, I used analog again for this. So yeah, that works pretty well. Got to put a donk on it, It's I'm always up for the donk. So what else have we got here? We've just synth-wise. Okay, so I've got a Korg mini log, and I can see that let me just see what I've got on here. I think I just recorded some audio. Nice. And then we got the legendary Selena string synth. I have to say I just use this all the time. Arturia string synth, Selena. Let me just see if I can play this. Not that. That's the silent, isn't it? Why am I playing that? There we go. Beautiful. It's just so good for those kind of high pedal things to like really kind of lift the track. I've got some JV1080 here. What's going on there? Maybe that was actually from my hardware JV1080, which is up there. Okay, so that's the stuff that's all being sidechained. If we just sort of solo that, what have I got creating the sidechain? It's probably it's like a 909. Let's just have a look at that. Okay, nice. And then you can see the sidechains working there. It's not affecting it massively, to be honest. Let's just take it out of the mix and. So it's kind of working with the LFO of the silent, and just kind of giving it that energy, the pumping energy, which I'm sure we all know how effective sidechain compression can be. So yeah, there's some other bits as well which are actually out of that group. So I've got some ARP Odyssey. Let's just listen to that. I think that's just kind of playing some little hits. Yeah, those kind of things. So if I just play that. So those I've actually got a Korg ARP Odyssey. So I probably would have. Well, it looks like I just recorded in a pass of just me just messing around and then just choosing the best bits. Cool. So then if we do have a look at the lead vocal, as you can see, there's absolutely no processing on it at all. It's completely as it was. But what I did do was I just kind of chopped it around a bit just to make it sit with the rhythmically.
We are young, we're in love.
So it's a beautiful vocal as it is. And so as I said, the original tempo is 112.5, and I've used the Complex Pro warping on this, which seemed to work really well. I mean, to be honest.
And we're gifted, not a cloud.
Sometimes when I'm doing those kind of more extreme time stretch kind of processes, I'll use Melodyne. But for this just worked straight off the bat, and I was really happy with how it sounded. There are some BVs on this as well. So the BVs happen in the chorus. Let's just play those.
Bring it on, bring it on. Can't let the pressure get through when there's so much.
Again, no processing on that as well. And then what I did do was create some vocal cuts. So I often do this is like I try to sort of pick out some good sections of the vocal. And it looks like what I've done here is I've just literally just dragged the lead vocal into a drum rack. And then I've just picked out bits of the vocal. Let me just play it from here. Okay. And I've just kind of heavily processed it. So, I've kind of given it a bit of a sort of telephone effect just with this EQ, taken off pretty much everything under 1K. And then it's also going to feeding that into return of the Galaxy, so the UAD Galaxy, which is basically the Space Echo. And I do actually have, I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't actually, but I've got a real Space Echo up there, but I'm using this instead. And let's just play it again. So that's how I kind of basically built the end section of this track, and I'll look at the chords in a minute. But if I just play that. So obviously I don't have to actually kind of, I mean, I could just take those as audio and just place them, but I quite like just being able to kind of play it in and mess around with things. And otherwise I probably wouldn't have come up with those little vocal sort of snippets to put in those places. So it's just a kind of way of working, really, that everyone has their different ways of working. Okay, so there was some guitar that this came with and that was presented to me, and for this, let me just have a look what I did. I think I split this up. So I think I just took some elements of this guitar. It looks like I've just kind of chopped this up completely, maybe using slice to MIDI, and just so I can kind of create a different part out of it. So yeah, and similarly, I did a thing with the Rhodes as well. There was a kind of nice little repeating Rhodes pattern, and I'm pretty sure I did the similar. And out of that, I created And there's also these guitar licks as well, which I've kept in. Have I? Oh no, I didn't even use those guitar licks. The only other thing that I used was this sax, which I would never really plan to use because I didn't think it was going to fit in. But with a bit of chopping around, it actually came out really well. So again, that hasn't got any processing on, that's just the original track. Cool, so that's the main elements. The last thing I want to just go through is the outro because the chords change. So we go into this sort of dubby section, and that's where this piano is just playing these kind of stab chords. And again, that's feeding into the Galaxy, which has got some automation on it. There we go. So I'm automating the feedback on there. Let's just listen to that in context. Okay, so that works there, and then we suddenly kind of go into this new outro section. So I can't even remember what I did there. Let's just have a little listen. I'm pretty sure I can guess. Let's just bring up the silence and take off the filtering, or increase the cutoff. So this is just playing some sus2 chords, which kind of really darken the sound. So we kind of go from this with the normal chords, which are, so these are much, minor nines, so much kind of fuller, and then we go to sus2 chords. And just kind of keeping the shape. And then kind of keeping that bass note where it goes down there, which is just beautiful. If anyone is into Ryuichi Sakamoto or Joe Hisaishi or any of those kind of Japanese composers, the kind of working on Ghibli soundtracks, that's a real kind of signature kind of chord shape that they'll use. Those kind of either sus4s or sus2s. Anyway, that's what the outro section goes to. And I kind of feel like that's really where the donk really has a good place. It really kind of underpins those chords. And vocal wise, I'm just using these vocal cuts. So, Daniel, yeah, tips to navigate from part A to B. That's a really good question. I mean, for this, if I how I did it, you know, it's pretty much going on the same with the same chord sequence all the way through. I suppose the thing that kind of links section A to B is this dubbed out section. So it's like bringing out the bass is a good thing, because the bass is often, you know, even if it's like a techno track where it's just, you know, there's no kind of chordal information there, I suppose, you know, it's just kind of more like pedal sound. Still, just taking the bass out allows you to, it kind of takes the focus away from that harmony, even if it is just a pedal. And I think that was my philosophy here. And also there's just that general thing of like when the bass drops, you know, it kind of has a massive impact. So all the way through this dubbed out piano section, there's no bass at all. So frequency wise, it's really giving some anticipation. But I'm bringing in elements of that vocal there. And I suppose it's kind of given time for the listener to forget about A section as well. So we kind of go to the B section. But to be honest, it's not that different, because the bass line is still kind of following the same chord sequence. It's just the chords are different. They're a bit darker, and it's more just like a little reminder of some of the elements that come before. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's something that it's a bit of a signature, I suppose, with a lot of remixes, is that I never want to just stay on the same vibe for the whole way through. I always want to sort of create some sort of nice outro where I can. And in some cases, I often like the outro more than the main part, but then I don't want to change it at that point. So you know, I think on some occasions I've actually sort of done some more like dub mixes where I've just used the kind of outro section. But yeah, so that's it really. And so I'm going to take a bit of a risk here, and I'm going to go to the master channel and load in what I put on here, and just hope that it doesn't crash, because that's what crashed it last time. Here we go. Please. Is it loading up? This is where it all goes wrong. Come on. You can do it. I don't want to crash now, because I want to quickly have a look at this Google AR synth 3D thing. Here we go. Cool. They've loaded up. Amazing. All right. So this is what's on my master chain, and I can just go through and I'll just play the track without them. There we go. Okay. So the first thing I put on is the G-Bus compressor. So that is a bit of a go-to really. I always put that on pretty much everything now. You can see it's actually having quite a big effect. So the threshold is not that much, but it's definitely kind of doing something. Now the next one is the oxide. Now what that does is it really enhances the bottom end. It makes such a difference, as well as kind of giving it that nice kind of compression sound as well, that compressed tape sound. So if I just play it with and without. So without. It just does something really special to the bottom end. It's great. And then finally, I've got the L3 Ultra Maximizer. So let's see what that sounds like.
There's no time to feel blue when you're just 22. Bring it on.
So with all those in, and then with all those out.
Can't let the pressure get through
In.
when there's so much to do. Bring it.
So I think that there's always a lot of cliches, I think, with when people talk about, you know, adding sort of tape compression and, you know, like gelling stuff together and making it kind of just sound musical. There's a lot of cliches that happen, but I do think there's definitely something there, you know, definitely something satisfying when you've been working with all these kind of different elements and then you suddenly kind of bring them together, you know, with these plugins. So yeah, there we go. That's my walkthrough. I'm really happy that it didn't crash. Fingers crossed. So before I say goodnight, because it is getting late, I just want to let me just see if I've got it over here. Oh yeah, by the way, please buy the track or at least listen to it. Here's the website here. Let me just this is the Bandcamp. I'm just going to put it in the chat. There we go. Cool, so check it out. And Roberta Gentile has actually got an album out as well. It's got the same title. If you just click on her artist name there, you can see the album, Bring It On. So check that out if you can. It's a really great album produced by my good friend Bluey, who's written a lot of the tracks as well. So thoroughly worth a listen. So anyway, just very quickly, I'm going to just bring over this. Let's just drag this over here. So check this out. I saw this posted on Music Radar. I'll put the link in the chat as well. There we go. And there's a number of things that this is. This isn't. There's probably actually like a better link here. But anyway, this one here is the AR synth part of it. And oh, nice one, Funky On. Great. I don't know if you were there on Sunday, but yeah, you didn't experience my crash. Anyway, check this out, because what this allows you to do is you've got some synths, and if I just drag this over, is this going to work? Maybe I need to reload it, reload the page. There we go. AR synth. It might just be a little bit too much. Here we go. No, playing 3D. Here we go. Did I post the link? Let's just post this link. There we go. Let's play it in 3D. Cool. So it says select a synthesizer below and click to place it in the scene. So let's just choose. You know what? It might just be a bit too much for my CPU. All right, I'll have to leave it. But oh no, here we go. Yeah, it's working. Maybe it took some time to load. Okay, so here we go. So we've got a sampler here. This is an S900 Akai. I had a 3000. Let's stop it. Let's see if we can do the. Let's add another machine. Here we go. Let's see what this is. There we go. Got an Arp Odyssey. Okay, so it's working a little bit better now. Let's just stop it. So you've got a kind of grid here, like a step sequencer. I suppose you can actually delete them as well. You've also got a dice, so you can. And you can kind of acid it up as well. Okay, so there's that. What else have we got? There's a memory Moog I checked out earlier. Let's just move it over to this sort of Tron landscape that we've got here. It just takes a little while to engage. Here we go. So this is the memory Moog. Funky. Daniel, did you get the link? You got the link. And what can we control here? Exactly. I love this dice feature. And then I can't go without trying this CR78 drum machine. Because this, there we go, because this actually, oops, this actually controls the tempo. So yeah, it's obviously not the most amazing kind of riffs that you can get out of it, but it's really good for the kids. I think it's just running a bit slow because of my CPU, but that's definitely worth checking out. And hours of fun, yes. Great, all right, nice one, everyone. Thanks a lot for checking this. I'm glad that I managed to not crash, and I'll put this as a link from the first one I did on Sunday. And yeah, I've got something new planned for Sunday. I've got loads of ideas actually, so I just need to decide which one it's going to be, but hopefully see everyone on Sunday and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Take care,